Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Pete Delatorre Business Hour. We have been focusing on leadership throughout the month of January, and we've had some amazing guests and just great discussion and insights. And I'm really, really thrilled because we're doing something for the very first time on this show here is, you know, we attend a lot of times panel discussions and forums and things like that. And to have the three guests that we have here this morning, we're absolutely honored and thrilled because it's going to be the entire show about leadership. We're wrapping up the month, all the multiple conversations we've had along the way. And today we have brought in three local leaders representing different industries, different activities that they do. And with me here this morning, we have an entrepreneur that is from Venezuela. His name is Andres Dominguez, co-founder and managing director of Natural Sense LLC, and he's very involved in the health and wellness industry. And we're going to get to hear his really view on things like that. We have Jose Manuel Diaz, principal of Compass Office Solutions. And when you talk about someone that has a legacy with FIU, I think he does with his family. And Jose is also very, very involved in the community, Greater Miami Chamber and other organizations like that. And Jacqueline Sousa, a not going to say an old friend, but a dear friend of the program. She is a regional director for FIU's College of Business, Small Business Development Center, otherwise known as SBDC. And we talk that up all the time. So we're going to have fun this morning, folks. We're going to get your insights. I'm here just to observe and ask a couple of questions, but you guys are the experts this morning. And I'm going to start with the right way, ladies first. Jacqueline, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Tell us very briefly about what you do with the SBDC.
Well, the SBDC we're marking our one-year anniversary this month, and we are essentially a consulting firm within the College of Business. We work with entrepreneurs and small business owners to help them grow and succeed. We offer consulting in a wide range of areas from finance to marketing to international business development, government contracting. So basically our goal is to really see our small business community thrive.
You guys do an amazing job, and I know this partnership with FIU has been simply amazing, and you know we've been part of that journey, and much more to come regarding the SBDC. Jose Manuel Diaz, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. Well, I'm born and raised local product of the FIU School of Business. Very proud to have launched Compass Office Solutions as a result of an internship program that started when I was a marketing student at FIU.
The other day, correct?
Yeah, just the other day,
just
a few years ago. And now we're very proud to celebrate the coming 10th year of business and 10th straight growth year for our company. So,
in essence, what does a company do? What are the products and services?
Compass Office Solutions is a commercial office furniture distributor. We represent manufacturers, and what we do is we look for the solutions for companies that are trying to grow, expand, or move their business so that the working environment supports the type of work that the people do, and we help them in the performance of their business.
That's great news. And Andres, welcome.
Thank you. Well, I'm FIU alumni. I also a customer client of SBDC. So guys, call SBDC. It works.
It works. It works if you work it, and you worked it.
And it works. I can tell you that. I'm also one of the co-founders of Natural Sense, a company that manufactures and sells the best fruit snacks in the world. That's simple, guys.
That's simple, and the business was started back in 2011, correct?
Yeah. We sold the first cases in 2011 in Costa Rica. Currently, we sell in 6 different countries. We sell in Costa Rica, Panama, Guatemala, Japan, Canada, and the U.S. And now we're trying to tackle the U.S. market, the toughest market in the region.
Oh, so I've heard there.
Yeah.
Well, today you're going to be able to shine, and we have a lot of listeners tuning in, a lot of decision makers here in South Florida and business leaders and from around the country as well and the world. So thank you to the three of you for being here today. And again, for all of you that are tuning in this morning, the reason we're doing this again is and why we took the entire month to focus on leadership is because, in my opinion, and the opinion of so many, we are kind of we're losing a lot of leaders. You know, if you go back in history and through this country and other countries in the world through time, it is because of great leaders that great things happen. And it just appears to me personally and many others that in today's world, we're kind of lacking in the whole leadership thing, and I think it's incumbent upon us to really bring this subject to the forefront. And again, we have these three great leaders here today that will provide their insights and really how they look at leadership and everything to do with that. So, if you're driving this morning, which most of you are, just tune in, because I think by the time we're done today, you're going to be able to get some ideas and be very, very inspired. And let me ask, and really the first question, and whoever wants to go at this first, feel free to do that. Your opinion, what is the state of leadership today in the business world, and where are things right at? I don't know, Jacqueline, you want to take the first crack at it?
Sure. I'm actually pretty optimistic about the state of leadership in the business world, and I think you see it with all the innovation you see coming out of it. I mean, innovation takes leadership. It takes somebody who really has the foresight, the strength to bring forth a new product, a new service, a new way of doing things, I think that in and of itself is indicative of just some of the great leadership that's in the business world right now. I think that it's sometimes more difficult to spot, not just the business world, but in general. Our communication is much more segmented. We are leaders in different segments of the business world, and so not everybody gets to see it. So it's more difficult to spot, but I believe it's there.
Here, Jose?
Yeah. I'd say that there's a lot of phenomenal leaders especially here in South Florida in our community. But what I would say is that people are looking for leadership. I think they're hungry for leadership. Yeah, people want a narrative. People want a story about the future that they can follow. I think that the struggle for anybody who's trying to motivate and generate what we're trying to generate in our businesses and in our community is communicating a strong and compelling and genuine narrative about the future that people can follow and that they want to follow. And if you generate that, and if you're able to communicate that properly, whether it's in the educational community like in FIU or in a small business like Compass Office Solutions, then not only do people want to follow and work for that future and that genuine solution to human problems that leaders promise to help solve, but then people commit their lives to it. People work hard and actually generate those solutions together, because what that does is generate a team that wants to work for a common vision.
You said something very interesting, is to have that clear-cut vision of where you want to go, and a lot of times it's in the mind of that individual. They see clearly, but the trick is in the communication of that vision.
There's no doubt. It's all about a common narrative. It's about developing. In the case of Compass, Bill White and I believe that there was a better way of generating good and solid, genuine solutions for the working environment. That vision, fortunately, so far, is translated into a very strong team of individuals that are committed to the same direction. But it's the narrative, the belief in the narrative, and then the communication of that narrative that generates the capacity of people to follow. It's not the leadership; it's the capacity of people to follow.
Absolutely, Andres.
In my case, I have been speaking with a lot of entrepreneurs, and or people that want to be an entrepreneur, and they want to become leaders. The thing with them is that they don't have the strength or the perseverance to do it. Mm-hmm. So they want to be leaders. They want to get there, but they don't want to take the first step. So they're afraid to jump from the cliff because they don't have what Jose told, the clear view of what they want. They don't see it there, and if they don't see it, they won't get it.
I think there's a difference, and I think you all will agree, of wanting to do something or wishing that you can be whatever it is you would like to be, but it has to be backed up by a purpose and a strong conviction about something, because that'll get you past what you're just mentioning right now, that resistance that we have. I don't know if I want to make this next step, and that I think comes out of uncertainty. Because once you know what you want, you'll make that step. You'll make that bold step.
Yeah, but not every time you're certain of what's going to happen.
Well, correct. And that uncertainty will hold you back from moving forward there.
And that I think that's a big difference. In today's world, I think one of the challenges leaders face is a culture of immediate satisfaction. Mm-hmm. And believe me, that immediate satisfaction is not part of leadership. Leadership,
short-term gratification is
go somewhere else.
Throw it out the window.
pick another cause, but don't pursue leadership if you're looking for immediate satisfaction, because you're going to be dissatisfied the rest of your life. Leadership, I think, is about definitely some narrative about a long-term gain. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for immediate satisfaction, you're going to be incredibly frustrated, because you must persevere. You must work through every single challenge that's going to be put in front of you.
And the challenges will come.
Oh,
that's
no. And
guaranteed.
the world's set up against you. There's no doubt that the market is going to resist you. Your competitors are going to fight you. Even the people that you want to follow will resist, because that's just the game. The game is a long-term vision about some future, and it must be of genuine nature that you're looking to pursue, and then you've got to fight through all of those challenges, even if the short-term consequences are very severe.
Sure. We need to wrap it up before our first break, but Jacqueline, any feedback from your end?
I would just say that, and like we were speaking about earlier before the show, that I just think it depends so much on the situation and the times. And before I was doing this, I was a business journalist for a long time and was able to observe a lot of different leadership styles. And the one thing I learned is that there's no one formula. And the other thing I learned is that the really good leaders really aren't trying to be leaders. They're trying to do what needs to be done, and people follow them.
It's just, and we'll expand that conversation a little bit after the break here. So again, we are having our leadership roundtable here in the studio on the Pete Del Torre Business Hour with Andres Dominguez, Jose Manuel Diaz, and Jacqueline Sousa. More to come after the break, but before we do that, let's talk about what's dear and near to our hearts. Florida International University's College of Business. My friends, the future of business is here. With MBAs and master's degrees for tomorrow's business leaders, make the most of your leadership skills with an MBA, healthcare MBA, or a specialized business degree from FIU. You know that you can earn your MBA in as little as 1 year with evening and weekend classes that are designed for working professionals, and you have several different locations of which to do this. The main campus in West Miami, Brickell at the Penal Center in the heart of downtown Miami, their new FIU location in Miramar off of I-75, and of course online. To find out more, register for an information session at FIUbusiness.com. That's FIUbusiness.com. All right, my friends, welcome back to the Pete Del Torre Business Hour. Of course, we are have been celebrating Leadership Month here in the program throughout January, and we're doing a wrap session today with a panel of distinguished leaders in our community. Andres Dominguez, who's a co-founder and managing director of Natural Sense LLC. He is very involved in the health and wellness industry, and why not? Because we're all trying to feel better and look better. And Jose Manuel Diaz, principal of Compass Office Solutions, and has quite the legacy with FIU. And Jose is also very involved in the community with several of the key business organizations. And, of course, Jacqueline Sousa, Regional Director, FIU College of Business, Small Business Development Center, SBDC. And as you can tell, what an amazing group. And we've been talking up to now about the state of leadership in the world. And I think there's a general consensus that things are coming along well. There's a lot of excitement out there. And we started to hit on some of the characteristics of what a good leader is, which really leads to my next question again about, when you think about a leader, what are the things that stand out? What are the characteristics? And along with that, the other side of it, and we need to talk about this, what makes a bad leader? Because there are people in leadership positions that are not necessarily, leading in the right way. And Andres, I don't know if you want to start with that question.
Well, such thing as a bad leader, I don't think they exist unless they're imposed. Leaders are leaders by a reason. They earn it. To be a leader, you have to be perseverant. You have to bring innovation, be creative, and be perseverant. You have to be there and work for it. So a bad leader is someone that is imposed. And I don't think there's many bad leaders right now.
Well, I have to commend you. I love your optimism and just in general terms of how you look at things, and that has allowed you to be a good leader. because you need to be optimistic. Jacqueline, I know you've got some thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I really do believe that it's very difficult to pinpoint characteristics that are going to apply always. I mean, certainly there are things like being genuine. I think that people have to feel that you have you're generally trying to achieve something that's for the greater good or not just in your self-interest. But things like the characteristics of a bad leader, someone who doesn't listen.
Yes.
But then I think of Steve Jobs, who was famous for not listening, as one of the more, became one of the great leaders in the business world. It really, I believe, depends on the times, the place, the situation,
the circumstances.
Sure. And certain traits. As I mentioned, just through the years, observing leaders, there were leaders that had the same characteristics, but in a different place, in a different time, one would thrive and the other would fail miserably. So, but yes, definitely there are certain traits that do cut across and that you need to have.
And I think that there's leadership styles. I mean, there's leaders that will lead by being very articulate and they speak a lot and they motivate you by speaking. There are others that are more quiet, more, they do it by what they do, not so much but what they say. Jose, any thoughts?
No, and if we follow that train of thought, I think that one of the key characteristics that you look at is commitment over time. If you look at it in a short horizon of time, there's a lot of different styles that can create short-term gains. But in a case of like a Steve Jobs, he maybe didn't listen, but mostly he didn't listen to the naysayers and the people that told him it couldn't be done.
Right.
And he was committed to a vision that he declared, and if he was gonna live or die based on that vision, and he persevered through those naysayers. He was committed to his vision, and I think that commitment and genuineness, from my point of view, whether it's in business, in the community, with your family, that's what people see. And they see it over time.
They see it and they feel it.
And that's what people follow. People
Yeah.
follow. When you see a lack of commitment or lack of genuineness, which many times is pretty transparent, and human nature, I think, has taught us to recognize the lack of commitment or lack of genuineness, then you undermine the cause. You undermine the vision. And that undermining is many times the underpinnings that break apart and lead to lack of success in whatever the cause.
I love the word you use, declared, his vision. I mean, that you talk about conviction and says, I know what I want, I see it, and we're going to go in this direction here.
Yeah, without that declaration of the commitment, this is the vision, this is the cause that we are pursuing, and this is how we're going to do it. People don't have a way to judge the character and the genuineness of the vision to be able to say, "Hey, I'm with you. I believe in that too.
I want to be a part of that.
I want to be a part of that."
Yes.
So,
and I think that I agree. There isn't something that says, okay, are you a good leader? Answer these questions. Boom, 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 boom. I think it's in the demonstration of the things that you do. Beyond, it's truly, it's not even walking the talk, it's running the talk sometimes. And taking that bold step after you deliberate and obviously and think it through and plan it. Once you get to that point that, hey, we've done all the planning, we got to now execute. And I think that's a big part of also leadership, is the fact that you can really transmit this idea that, we can talk a good game. But if we don't implement, if we don't put action into this, it's never going to happen. It's going to remain on the board and look great there. And I think a lot of ideas stay there, and it takes leadership to take that idea and say, okay, now we're going to run with this here.
It's like they say, lead by example.
Yes. Take action and move forward there. Now, leaders, and I think we already kind of bring this up, are we're living in a very, very challenging world. It's a fast-moving world, and technology is changing things literally by the minute. We mentioned Steve Jobs and everything that's happened with Apple and so many other great organizations that are technology is just many times it's going in one direction, and we better be part of that, because if not, we're going to be left behind there. What other challenges do you feel that leaders are encountering today that maybe they never have come across in the past. Jacqueline?
Well, I don't know if it hasn't come across in the past, but it's certainly much more present today. Obviously, there's the rapid change, how quickly things are changing. Also, it's a much more diverse market. Leaders now have to have a very good understanding of their market, and their market, chances are, is not a unicultural market. You're dealing with from your employees, who probably are very diverse, to your consumers or your clients, who are probably very diverse, and understanding them culturally, understanding how they think, and of course understanding their needs, I think, is much more complex today.
That's a big one, because especially if you're going to have a team, you're going to have employees, you're going to have a group that you're leading, a group of other professionals. You can't be all things to all people, but you've got to know your team, and you got to know what motivates them, and be able to get to know them, as many of them as possible, on a one-to-one basis, because if they're going to be part of your team, you want them to be on the same page. Any thoughts, Jose?
I think that along with that, and I guess maybe triggered by the rapid changes, that I think that if we look at people historically that we would declare have been great leaders and have proven the test of time, they became masters. They had mastery over the domain that they declared to be the future that they wanted to produce. And in today's world, the short-term mentality of immediate gains, immediate profits, immediate next promotion, fast success.
Overnight success.
Overnight success.
Expectations of overnight
the
success.
expectation of overnight success, what it does, it undermines the time that it takes to master a subject. And what ends up happening is, I think that a lot of people are trying to lead and trying to either become successful business people, or lead their families, or help South Florida grow the business community. And what happens is that the amount of time and investment that is required to create mastery over an area of work, I think is being shortchanged. I think people lose the fact that it takes a long time to figure things out, that it takes a long time. You typically are working as an understudy in leadership, underneath some other great leader that's taught you what you've learned. And it might take 5, 10, 20 years to figure things out before you can gain mastery. And I think that mentality of immediate gain and immediate success undermines the capacity of developing great leaders and of being a successful leader.
Well, I would tell you that's a big challenge for leaders today, because everywhere you look, okay, it's like, make it happen now, and jump on this now, and it's got to happen now, and that's a big challenge that leaders have.
And and don't get me wrong, I follow the same trap. The bank's pushing you to be successful now. Your employees are pushing you to be successful now. The market's pushing you. I mean,
your family,
the family's pushing. I mean, there's no out.
Well,
yes,
something Jose said kind of sparked something that I do believe is a very important trait in good leaders, and that is, leaders know when to be followers. They know that there are times when they need to recognize that someone else is leading the direction, that it's a good time to be a follower. And I would say that that's a very important trait in good leaders, that they know when to follow.
I think it also goes along that great leaders also, they know what they know, but they also know what they don't know.
Right, exactly.
And, they know what, in today's world, we've got to become specialists. We can't be everything to everyone. And if we try to do that, then we're trying to talk ourselves into something that's just not going to happen here. We have a minute left here, Andres. I don't know if you wanted to chime in.
I agree 100% with both Jackie and Jose. And the leaders must be, again, perseverant. They need to work. There's no immediate gain. And just what Jackie said, they must be experts in their trade. Mm-hmm. You have to know when you need help, when you have to follow someone else. That's very important, at least in my experience.
Absolutely. We have 3 very distinguished panelists here today, leaders in the community. Andres Dominguez, who's a co-founder and managing director, Natural Sense LLC, an entrepreneur that's focusing on the health and wellness industry. Jose Manuel Diaz, principal of Compass Office Solutions, very connected to the university and the community. And Jacqueline Sousa, of course, Regional Director, FIU College of Business, Small Business Development Center, SBDC, and we have had some very, very fascinating insights, and this is why we're doing this, because everyone has something to say and something to contribute, and having this exchange, I think, creates some dynamics here that are very, very exciting. I want to get into the area again of continue with the challenges for leaders today, and you know, with that, what are the responsibilities of leaders today? Because you know, I think a big characteristic of a good leader is being responsible and accountable, and not sitting back and pointing fingers. I mean, we are all responsible for our lives and our businesses that we have. Jacqueline, give us your thoughts on that.
Well, I think that certainly the responsibilities that you have to understand that the decisions you make don't just impact you; they impact everyone around you, possibly an entire industry. So it's understanding the responsibilities that you have to make good decisions as often as possible. Everybody understands that there's no perfection here, and that there are going to be mistakes. And that's actually one of the aspects of leadership that is also interesting is accepting imperfection among our leaders, and our leaders accepting them as well among themselves. So, but certainly understanding that the decisions you make, how they impact you, everyone around you, and possibly your entire industry is one of the greater challenges that a leader has.
I think what you said there is that we also have to have to a great degree, humility.
Exactly.
We have to, there's nothing wrong, my friends, if you're business owners out there and you're listening and you have leadership positions, it's okay to say, I'm sorry, my mistake, or I don't know the answer. I mean, that creates legitimacy, and you become genuine by doing it. If you think you know all the answers, we've got news for you, because you don't. Jose.
I think the number one responsibility that leaders have is one of investment. And I say investment in the point of view of that I'm a person that received a lot of investment from a lot of different people. I got huge examples and investments from my family and in how to work hard, the work ethic, and the perseverance it requires to be successful. My high school, I went to Christopher Columbus High School. I'm super proud of that. And
I went to a competitive school. I went to Pace.
Well, a great formation and education and community. And then at FIU, they established a phenomenal education of what it takes to really be successful. It gave me that first opening with an internship that turned into my entire career and the success that I've been able to have. And I think recognizing that investment of others in us creates a responsibility for us to invest in others.
To pass it on.
Absolutely. So what we have to do is look for as many opportunities to put something in front of somebody else that they can benefit from. And by doing that, it may or may not pay off, but we got to do it anyway. And there's like right now we've employed 5 different students that came out of FIU as interns at our company. All 5 of those people have gone on to have phenomenal success. Mm-hmm. Some of them with competitors, some of them with other industries. Nonetheless, we've got to keep investing. We got to invest in others so that those people can succeed, and believe that by investing in others, we're going to be creating the overall community that we're all going to benefit from.
Absolutely. Investing, folks, it's could be money, but I think most of the time is
time and
our
energy.
Time and energy. We talk about mentorship, be open-minded, to be coachable and learn from others and great leaders, people that really have been successful and that display the real qualities of being honest and full of integrity and having a track record. Well, we have to then turn around and pass that on to others, because we're not going to be here forever, and we want to make sure that the future is a bright one.
And I make the emphasis of invest despite the return.
That's right. No guarantee, right? Right.
No guarantee. You invest in people, develop people, invest in the community, invest in FIU, invest in the chamber. But just keep investing, because that is, I think, the key characteristics of leaders. Some people invest only when they see the return. Leaders invest despite the return. They invest because they believe that's the responsibility and how we build a future community that we can all benefit from.
Yeah, let's not hoard the information and keep it to ourselves, because eventually it dies. And the idea is to have that flow. We learn, we take it, we use it, and we pass it on to others. Andres, from your end, of course, coming from Venezuela,
Yep.
and of course all the challenges and coming over and unfortunately what's going on in your country, and you come here and you're torn. And you were a leader then. I assume you were a leader back then and did some things, because if not, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing here today.
Well, I hope I was working to be a leader down there in Venezuela, and I'm working to be a leader here in the U.S. I still think I have to walk a long road before becoming a real leader. The thing with leadership is that, as we said before, we have to work it out. And you have to take the opportunities that are given to you
Yes.
to make a difference. The thing is, not all opportunities are good. You have to be really focused. You have to be smart enough to know which opportunities to take.
Mm-hmm.
One thing of the U.S. market that I learned in the last 5-6 years here is that every industry is really focused in their business. You have to be really looking forward to grow in one segment. If you start picking from different industries, you'll be spread all around.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to become a leader, be a leader in your industry, in your community, in somewhere specific that you can create change.
We talk about responsibility, and Jacqueline brought that up. You're responsible to yourself, your company, organizations you're involved with, the community as a whole, your families. Is that responsibility starts also with, again, knowing what you know and being the best that you can be of what you do know, and not trying to be someone you're not. Even though one day you'd like to do that, that's fine. You can work towards that, but look at yourself and your skill sets, your experience, and what you bring to the table, and what is in your core. And I think it's unresponsible if we don't do that and we don't leverage our skill sets and our knowledge, because everyone around us is going to miss out, starting with yourself there. And speaking on opportunities, because we are living in a fast-moving world, and I call this the age of information overkill. I mean, there's information anywhere. All you can do is go to Google. You can find out something in a snap of a finger there. Some of that information, I would question it, but it's out there. But we've got to be constantly, and I think it's another important trait of a leader, is to, beyond the long-term vision, be able to look around and constantly survey the market, what's going on, because you could also miss opportunities if you don't have your eyes open to what is out there, something that you can then bring into your company and leverage. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think that brings up something that we really haven't talked about that much yet, but which is the importance of the team that surrounds the leader.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I think good leaders also bring is this ability to identify talent, to spot talent, to understand that they don't know everything, and that they need people who have different perspectives, who have different skill sets, that all that is an important component of the team. And at the end of the day, the team is the leader is the representative, but it's usually the team that...
Team is a reflection of the leader.
Yeah, and it's the team that gets things done.
Absolutely.
Yes, to be able to address all those issues of knowing what's happening, understanding how the world is changing, you need a great team.
And I think that understanding what fits with your organization and your philosophy, but also what fits them, because it isn't a one-way street. Well, this is great for me, but is it the right fit and match for them?
Exactly.
And that's important, because sooner or later it'll catch up with you. Jose?
I think this all lands in the category of risk. You've got to be willing to take a risk, and the risk comes in a lot of forms. There's the financial risk of investment, and Andres, warned us, I think, appropriately of, don't go crazy investing in something you don't know about, right? But consistent with what we were talking about earlier is that risk also comes in a lot of forms, for example, in relationships. Like, people ask me once in a while, well, why do you volunteer your time at FIU? Don't you sometimes, run into situations where you might waste your time? And I'm like, yeah, sometimes I do find that I make investments of times that aren't fruitful. But invest anyway. Do it anyway. Because, I think that the opportunities are going to come only if we invest and take the risk of taking a step forward, whether it's meeting people that you didn't know before, investing in an organization that you believe in, and you invest and you risk that amount of time or risk that amount of energy or risk exposing yourself, to something that could create some short-term setback. But it is in that investment and in the risk of going forward that you find the opportunities. And it's countless times. I think it was just yesterday that I was sitting at that economic summit, and I just chose a seat. And I typically choose a seat in these get-togethers that somebody that I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I sat next to a gentleman that turned out to be a potential opportunity for me.
There you go.
Because I, the most unlikely of circumstances, but I've over my 28 years of developing business and being involved in the community, I found that taking steps forward, exposing yourself and risking your time and energy, even in the light of other people saying, that's a waste of time.
Instincts don't lie. Instincts, and I think great leaders have instincts, and they know when to do something, when not to do something. But I think what you're saying right now is have the courage to take a bold step.
Yeah.
We're having an amazing roundtable discussion on leadership with three very distinguished individuals. Jacqueline Sousa, Regional Director, FIU College of Business, Small Business Development Center. Andres Dominguez, Co-Founder, Managing Director, Natural Sense LLC. And Jose Manuel Diaz, Principal of Compass Office Solutions. And we've got a couple of minutes left this morning. And boy, we could talk for hours. I think you all will agree here. Yes. Because once we get into a momentum here, it's things continue to pop up. And that's great because we have great leaders in here. And, we're very interested in this topic because it's what we do and we want to pass on to others. As we start to close out this morning, we've touched on it a little bit is giving to others and passing it on. And as much as we like to think that we're going to be here forever, I mean, what we can leave is a legacy. And that legacy is in helping to develop tomorrow's business leaders. Andres, would you like to take the first crack at that?
Well, yes. As Jose told us, we must invest. We must invest in our team. We must invest in our community. And we must believe in ourselves to have a clear view of what we want and be focused. Aim, target, shoot. Be straight away.
Absolutely, because we can't be blindfolded and throw things out there. It's like trying to hit a dart, and we don't know where it's going. And unfortunately, a lot of people in leadership positions are still doing that today. And we're not talking about the position that you have or the title that you have. Is what are those characteristics, and what are you doing with that, Jose?
I think. I think if what we're focusing on here is to say, so what do we do to invest and create opportunities? And I look at my career, my success is that I have been the recipient of a massive amount of great gifts and opportunities that have been given to me. So I've benefited tremendously from a great group of people that made a lot of investments in me and that I've been able to leverage and turn into success. And I think that the biggest future that I can produce for myself and my business is to continue to invest back into my community as a way of developing future opportunities. I think that I firmly believe that the work that we do to develop our business community through work in civic organizations, our work that we can do to develop the success of FIU and the School of Business will generate future opportunities that all of us can invest in and benefit from as a business community.
Absolutely. Jacqueline?
Well, I don't know who it was that said that a smart person learns from his mistakes, but a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. And so at SBDC at FIU, we're trying to create a lot of wise business owners.
Love that.
Yeah, we have among our consulting team more than 100 years of business experience. And while not all of it is applicable because things are changing very, very rapidly, there are lessons that stand the test of time. And and our mission really is to create those future leaders to pass on the knowledge, pass on the lessons, the experiences of what's worked, what hasn't worked, how things are different now. So to creating that future leadership really is a big part of our mission, and we do it by spreading knowledge, by spreading information, and hope that makes a difference.
Well, the work that the SBDC does is nothing short than amazing, because you're working with entrepreneurs and helping them go to that next level.
Exactly.
And the learning never stops. And I think a great leader also recognizes that learning never stops. You continue. We've got seconds left here this morning. Andres, any final comments before we close it out?
Be smart. Be focused. Be perseverant.
Love it. You brought up perseverance the entire hour today, and let me tell you something. Easier said than done, because when you're really, really tested is when your perseverance is tested. Jose?
I just leave the audience with the thought that one of my best mentors in business told me that business is truly the art of gift giving. It is the concept of selfish altruism, where we invest in others knowing that there is some future return, but we invest anyway, even if those returns aren't immediate.
That's beautiful. Jacqueline?
I would say don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to accomplish what you think needs to be accomplished, and to playing a role in making that happen. And if it's a leadership role, then all the better.
Fantastic. I'm going to give you guys just a round of applause. And I know our listeners that are out there, a lot of them are driving, so don't let go of your wheel. But I think everybody would agree that this has been phenomenal. You guys are great. Thank you so much for your insights and input. And I know that we're going to leave a mark in the lives of many of our listeners here today. Again, thanks to the three of you, Andres Dominguez, Jose Manuel Diaz, and Jacqueline Sousa. This has been terrific.